Welcome back and get comfortable because what I am about to walk you through is not just another passing headline, and it is absolutely not something you should skim or ignore. What happened today may end up being remembered as one of the most defining moments in Ripple's entire existence, because Ripple has officially taken an action that permanently changes how regulators, institutions, and banks perceive this company. Ripple is becoming a bank. And before you react emotionally or jump to conclusions, before you assume this means retail checking accounts, debit cards, or Ripple competing with Coinbase or your neighborhood bank, stop right there. That immediate reaction is exactly why so many people are completely misunderstanding what this actually represents. What occurred today goes far beyond price action. It goes beyond short-term hype and fundamentally reshapes Ripple's position inside the global financial system. In this breakdown, I am going to explain what Ripple becoming a bank truly means for XRP, what doors it opens for Ripple as a business, and why this move has nothing to do with retail users at all. This is about infrastructure, credibility, and access at a scale crypto has never seen before. But before we dive deeper into that, there is another issue I need to highlight because it exposes just how distorted many crypto narratives have become. There is a serious problem unfolding on the Solana side that very few people want to acknowledge. And once you look at the data, it raises uncomfortable questions about where real sustainability actually exists in this market. This is not a hype piece or a cheerleading session. This is a reality check. We are going to separate emotion from evidence, noise from signal, and hype from genuine structural change. Whether you like XRP or not, what just happened forces a reassessment of the broader crypto landscape. Take a moment, stay objective, and walk through this carefully. Because once you truly understand what this move represents, you will never view Ripple, XRP, or institutional crypto adoption the same way again. Now, before we go any further into what this banking approval unlocks for Ripple and XRP, I need to address something that has been bothering me because it perfectly illustrates how broken crypto discourse has become. I keep seeing people aggressively defend Solana or Ethereum while showing irrational hostility toward XRP. Not based on thoughtful critique, but on lazy recycled talking points. Claims like XRP is centralized, XRP is useless, XRP is only for banks and therefore bad are repeated endlessly, while those same people ignore networks that are quietly deteriorating under the surface. Let's talk facts. Solana validators are shutting down. The network has fallen from around 2,500 validators to roughly 800. A decline of nearly 68%. 2 more validators exited just this month, openly stating that operating costs have become unsustainable. Running a properly equipped Solana validator is now estimated to cost tens of millions of dollars. That is not decentralization, that is economic gatekeeping. Even more concerning, Solana is approaching the minimum validator count required for network safety. When a chain starts flirting with that threshold, the conversation shifts from ideology to systemic risk. Yet this is largely ignored, while XRP, a network that has functioned reliably for over a decade through market crashes, regulatory assaults, and stress events, is labeled unsafe. That alone should raise alarms. What you are really witnessing is not technical evaluation but venture capital narrative defense. Solana has been one of the most heavily VC-funded chains in crypto history, with early insiders receiving massive allocations and preferential positioning. Of course, those narratives will be protected. That does not make the network stronger, it just amplifies the marketing. The irony is that one of the highest IQ individuals on record recently disclosed exposure to XRP. That does not mean XRP holders are geniuses, but it completely dismantles the claim that only uninformed people hold XRP. Highly intelligent individuals, institutions, banks, and regulators are converging on XRP for a simple reason. It works at scale. This context matters because Ripple becoming a bank does not happen randomly. Regulators do not grant national trust bank charters to unstable or unserious entities. The OCC does not approve experiments, it approves infrastructure. While social media argues over memes, TPS metrics, and influencer narratives, decision-makers are determining who gets access to the financial system. Ripple did not chase retail hype or meme cycles. They did not build casinos. They spent years navigating regulation, compliance, and institutional relationships. And now as the system opens up, They are already inside. This is where confusion really sets in, because many people hear Ripple becomes a bank and immediately imagine retail banking products. That is not what this is, and it would actually be a downgrade. Ripple has no incentive to become a consumer bank with low margins and high compliance overhead. The largest banks in the world hold enormous assets, but trade at modest valuations because holding deposits is not where leverage is created. What Ripple is doing is far more strategic. By becoming an OCC-chartered national trust bank, Ripple places itself on equal regulatory footing with the institutions it serves. That erases the silent question banks always had about regulatory exposure. Now interactions become bank-to-bank, not bank-to-crypto startup. This charter is about access to Federal Reserve systems, payment infrastructure, and counterparties that previously had internal restrictions against working with crypto firms. It allows Ripple to build directly for banks rather than around them. That is where real capital flows. This is why tying this development to short-term XRP price misses the point. This is not a marketing catalyst. It is an infrastructure milestone. Its value shows up in what Ripple can now legally build and who it can build with. Very few crypto companies can claim federal supervision, compliant stablecoin issuance, institutional custody integration, and core banking infrastructure simultaneously. That is not narrative, it is structural advantage. Another common misunderstanding is that this somehow centralizes XRP or turns it into a corporate token. That is simply incorrect. Ripple becoming a regulated bank does not alter XRP ledger consensus or give Ripple control over the network. It does not change XRP's nature. What it does is make Ripple an exceptionally credible infrastructure provider to the largest financial institutions in the world. Large institutions do not move trillions through systems they do not trust or deploy mission-critical processes on networks stuck in regulatory gray zones. By stepping directly under federal oversight, Ripple removes excuses. That is the real unlock. This development changes how banks, asset managers, and payment providers discuss Ripple behind closed doors. And those conversations drive adoption, not social media debates. The speed of this matters too. This was expected years down the line, not now. Its timing signals accelerating regulatory alignment and institutional readiness. Markets do not immediately reprice infrastructure. They reprice it when usage and liquidity make ignoring it impossible. It is about unlocking capital at a scale crypto has never experienced. For years, banks wanted blockchain efficiency without regulatory exposure. That was the bottleneck. This approval removes it. Ripple now sits on equal regulatory ground with the institutions it serves, shifting the question from, can we use this, to why aren't we already? XRP then becomes critical not as a speculative asset but as a functional liquidity tool. Trillions of dollars currently sit idle in Nostro and Vostro accounts, an enormous inefficiency in a capital-constrained world. XRP offers a mechanism to eliminate that trapped capital while enabling instant settlement, which is a competitive advantage, not a luxury. Combine this with advancing stablecoin regulation, real-world asset tokenization, institutional on-chain settlement, and yield infrastructure, and the picture becomes clear. Ripple is not building a consumer bank. It is building financial plumbing. Many projects chase users. Ripple attracts institutions. Many chains debate ideology. Ripple aligns with regulators. Many assets chase hype. XRP solves balance sheet problems. You do not have to like XRP to recognize the magnitude of this moment. This is happening faster than expected because the financial system is under pressure and needs better infrastructure sooner. That leaves you with a choice. Focus on daily price noise or understand the system being constructed. One leads to emotion, the other leads to patience. This is not financial advice. Do your own research and understand your own risk. But if you are asking whether this moment matters, it absolutely does. Ripple becoming a bank is not the conclusion. It is the opening chapter of something much larger.